Good evening to all the participants who have joined here. I think it's almost time and we'll just get the ball rolling. First of all, I take this opportunity to welcome each one of you on behalf of the UGC, HRDC, University of Madras to this 2 days webinar. Am I audible first of all?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, you are audible.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Praveen. Thank you, Monisha. To this 2 days webinar on leadership. It is, actually the director for the UGC HRDC, Dr. Godan Raman, is not able to join us. He said that if possible, he will try to join us in between. So on behalf of him, I would like to welcome each one of you to this today's webinar. As you know, it is on the topic leadership. They say that great leaders don't set out to be a leader. They set out to make a difference. It's never about the role, but it's actually always about the goals. So it is the seeking of the goals together, which actually makes the pursuit of a leader really remarkable and meaningful. In the 21st century that we are in, we are actually at a crossroad where we are facing new challenges due to speed in technology, social and economical change, and to add to that, we have the recent pandemic. So do these new challenges call for a new breed of leaders? And does every walk of life that we are in, whether we are in the corporate setup, whether we are teachers, whether we are educationists, whatever role we play, is it relevant to talk about leadership? In a world of disruptive digital business models, which have augmented workforces, which have flattened organizations today, and an ongoing shift to the team-based work practices, organizations are challenging their leaders to set up and show the way forward. And the educational field is no exception. Year after year, organizations tell us that they struggle to find and develop future-ready leaders. Even in the 2019 Deloitte study, which was focused on leadership, and the Global Human Capital Survey, it says that 80% of the respondents rated leadership as a high priority for their organization. But only 41% told that they think their organizations are ready or very ready to meet the leadership requirement. So there is definitely a gap. And it is this gap which we like to address through this webinar. We see leadership pipelines and development at a crossroad at which organizations must focus on both the traditional and the new. Organizations know that they must develop leaders for perennial leadership skills, such as the ability to manage operations, supervise teams, make decisions, prioritize investments, and manage the bottom line. And they know that they must develop leaders for the capabilities needed for the demands of the rapidly evolving technology-driven business environment, capabilities such as leading through ambiguity, managing increasing complexity, being tech-savvy, managing changing customer or stakeholder needs, talent demographics, and handling national and cultural differences are all not just relevant to the corporate setup, but they are very much relevant even to the teaching community and the educational setup. We have the new educational policy which is coming up. We have a shift which has happened to the technology-driven platforms for teaching. And teachers, I'm glad that we have risen up to the needs of the changing times, and we have embraced to change. But that is not just enough in our teaching and learning methodology, but there is also a lot which has to be done in the way that these institutions are led towards the future. So it is in this context that we have gone ahead to arrange this webinar. In fact, we are very glad that we have had a very overwhelming response to this webinar, and we have had participants pan-India who have shown interest and who are here participating in this 2 days webinar. Today, we have a very dynamic and a very good speaker who is here, and it is indeed my privilege and honor to introduce her to this august audience. We will have with us a multitasker, a person who wears multiple hats with ease and who excels at every role that she plays. Mrs. Uma Baskaran. She is a transformational leader, a motivational speaker, a corporate trainer, students mentor, practicing counselor, NLP master practitioner, and many more. I've just pruned down the list so that I can go ahead. She is an ex-vice president from the BFSI sector and has served in various leadership roles. She holds a master's in physics from SRC Trichy, a PG diploma in financial management, a PG diploma in projects management. She's also certified in several other courses, which includes an MSc in counseling psychology, PG diploma in clinical psychology, HRM at LIBA, NLP masters from US, transaction analysis, certifications in online career assessment, stress management, train the trainer, learning disability, counseling excellence, cognitive behavioral therapy. She's also certified in Blueprint for Success on the Shiv Khera live 1 week workshop and also 1 week live program on emerging global leaders at IIM Kolkata. But what makes us really very appealing to me is the kind of positivity that she is able to always radiate wherever she is. And I think that is something that should be the highlight of any team that she is able to associate with. I've always seen us as a person who can lead from the front, be proactive, break down complex tasks into simpler ones, have critical thinking, and she is quick to respond on the feet. I think she is a leader who practices what she preaches. So it is indeed my pleasure to welcome Mrs. Uma Baskaran, and I really thank her for accepting our invite and being with us amidst us here today, and for sharing this platform with the University of Madras. I would also like to thank before I go ahead, to the university administration, especially the UGC HRDC, for giving me the opportunity to act as the convener for this program. And I also welcome all the participants who are here. With no further delay and taking no further time, let me hand over the session to Mrs. Uma Baskaran. All the participants, please stay on mute, and please mute your camera so that we can have a better bandwidth management. You can always put in your queries in the chat box, and also whenever the speaker wants you to respond to any of her queries, please, you are welcome to interact through the chat box. But please keep your microphones under mute. Those who are coming late and are not able to enter the virtual classroom, we have enabled a live YouTube streaming of this program. So you are also welcome to join the YouTube live streaming of this program. Thank you one and all for joining us and for showing your support. I have a lot of my colleagues and friends from the University of Madras also who have joined in, like my colleague Dr. Vanita, like Dr. Sridharan, and others. So thank you for your support. And over to you, Uma ma'am.
Yeah, good evening. And thank you, Dr. Manjula, for that wonderful, warm introduction, which has really charged the program. And how beautifully, brilliantly you have covered everything in a nutshell. It is like developing the hints for the participants. So you have covered everything required for the for effective leadership in your introduction beautifully, and what a beautiful script. I really appreciate that. And on the first hand, am I audible?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. On the first hand, I thank Department of Management Studies, University of Madras, for giving me this wonderful opportunity.
UGC HRDC.
Okay, fine. UGC HRDC for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share my experience and learnings about leadership. The topic is very close to me, and I have handled it in various corporates. But this is the first time I'm going to share this with highly learned scholars like each one of you here who are participating in this. And as Madam said, it is also going live on YouTube. So if you want to share the link, it is there in the chat box. I suggest before you get into the program, we start the program, you can share it now itself for those who would be interested. Okay, so let me share without wasting much time. I request you to be interactive, and yes, in some slides I will be asking your views. To begin with, I'm going to ask you the first view. So what, according to you, are the skills required for an effective leader? That's my first question. I would like to see some of your answers in the chat. What, according to you, are the skills required for an effective leader? Waiting for some of your answers in the chat box. Effective communication. Excellent, Nitya. I'm calling you by name, and sorry, courage. Yes, perfect. Communication skills, adaptability, self-control. Excellent. Then, so you are supplementing the beautiful narration given by Dr. Manjula. Good interpersonal skills. Yes. Self-confidence. Wonderful. Definiteness of decision. Wow. Well thought of. Integrity, proactiveness, appreciating. Yes. Pleasing personality. Okay. Team building, courage to take responsibility. Excellent. Lateral thinking, mastery of details. Yes. So like this, the list goes on and on. Listening skills, perfect. Politeness, yes. Approachable. So politeness, I'm relating to being approachable by the team members. Willingness to assume full responsibility and cooperation. Okay, seeking cooperation from team members. Compassion, yes. Motivation, self-motivation as well as motivating the team members. Patting and getting the work done. Sympathy and understanding, yes. Wonderful. Proactive. So now you will realize that keep listening and effective thinking. Robustness, yes. Keen sense of justice. Sometimes domination is needed. Beautiful. Yes, I will come to this point. Okay. So like this, we can keep mentioning the skills required for leaders on and on and on. The list is limitless because it is dynamic. And we would have realized the new set of skills which are required in today's scenario of uncertainty, positive attitude, initiative, always think one step ahead. Yes, excellent. So I'm sure we even have more to go. So we require a lot of skills. So a person should be able to quickly acquire a lot of required skills to be an effective leader, depending on the situation. So like now, the kind of uncertainty we are facing in the COVID situation, the way beautifully all of you teachers and professors have adapted to the changing scenario as Corona warriors, a big, big salute to all of you. The way you have learned the new technology only to ensure that the learning process is seamless, and you're able to continue teaching your students, and even when every other sector was relaxing or working from home, I have seen teachers and professors who were going to schools and colleges and taking a lot of extra efforts to make their sessions interesting. So that way, I really appreciate you. With that word of appreciation, let me move further. Okay, I was also wanting to ask what, according to you, are the parameters to assess effectiveness of a leader? We will come to that point again. And okay, so now having this in mind, what are the parameters and skills for effective leadership? How do you rate yourself from 1 to 5? You need not post it in the chat box. You can just ask yourself and keep that in your mind. Okay, when I saw the brochure said leading is life changing. Okay, so I was just thinking of that. Leading a leader is life changing. Yes, leaders change the lives of people. They can make or break the careers of people. So a lot of responsibility lies with leaders. I still remember one of my bosses making this statement: you don't have two choices in life. One is your parents and two is your boss. Okay, so, and we have also heard a lot of sayings relating to this, how leaders can really create leaders, can even transform the lives of people working with them. So change is something very essential. Change management is very essential for a leader. I just wanted to touch upon the caption in the brochure, leading is life changing. So I'm talking about change management. Nothing changes if nothing changes. If you really want to bring in some change in the effectiveness of the leadership style, or if you really want to bring in some change to increase the productivity of employees in an organization, as a leader or in whatever role we are as a leader, if you want to bring in some positive change, naturally some changes have to be made. So nothing changes if nothing changes. I felt it's a very powerful statement, but leaders always come across resistance to change as a big challenge, in the management or in any sector for that matter. So if you see the picture here, resistance to change, sometimes from they form two different groups, or it is the resistance is between two individuals, it may be two genders, or it may be between just the boss and the rest of the team members. And ultimately, the leader really uses all his skills and capabilities to prove to people or to make them understand that change is a chance for them to progress and grow in career. Okay, so again, as I said, that was about the caption, which was very powerful. To talk about leadership skills, that's the topic, leadership skills. What are the skills needed for effective leadership? I mentioned here teamwork, support, everything was mentioned by you beautifully in the chat box. Contribution, motivation, influence, influencing skills are also required. Communication, management, planning, strategy, integrity, ethics, support, etc. And these are the top 10 leadership qualities required: honesty and integrity. That is the way we build our brand, the way we behave. So, always in my sessions, I say that brand building is not only for organization, it also applies for individuals. What people talk about us when we are not around, in our absence, is the brand that we have created in the workplace or wherever we are. So our behavior and our qualities decide the kind of brand we create. So these qualities create our brand in the place where we work or live. Honesty and integrity, confidence, inspiring others, commitment and passion, being good communicator. We can be brilliant, take a lot of change management decisions, but we should be able to communicate to the team members, decision making capabilities, accountability. And about this, I have a beautiful video which you might have seen some of the videos, but still, for the benefit of people who have not seen, we'll be seeing some beautiful videos also. Accountability, how leader has to take charge in certain situations, delegation and empowerment, creativity and innovation. And even if a leader is not creative, he should always bring in the culture of encouraging creativity within the organization, wherever, whichever sector it is. And every organization nowadays has this innovation cell. Like many colleges also have innovation council, and you have been encouraging creativity in innovation. And last but not the least, empathy is very much required to step into the shoes of the team members and understand their requirements. So this is a small difference between managers and leaders. Managers, they just have employees, leaders bin followers. Managers react to change and leaders create change. Managers have great ideas, but leaders implement them. This is a big difference. Managers communicate, but leaders persuade. They have convincing skills. They have influencing skills. Managers just direct the group, but leaders create teams. Managers try to be heroes, but leaders make heroes. Managers take credit, but leaders take responsibility. Managers exercise power over people, but leaders exercise power with people to ensure that things are done. In many situations, what happens as we get elevated in our career, I have seen many individuals who are not able to elevate in their nature of work, not literally able to transition from a manager to a leader. Okay, so they continue to do what they were doing. That is why in many organizations, whenever there is an elevation, there is always a shift or a physical movement, or the posting, different posting is given so that they can try to perform their responsibilities in an elevated thought process level. As a leader, they need to start thinking, because if they are going to work with the same set of people and in the same place, somehow that creates the modalities, the term that we say in NLP, the modalities continue uh, in the same way, and hence they also continue to do the same thing. I have seen many individuals who have become leaders who continue to do the ground level job also, to say that, ma'am, instead of saying the asking people to do, it's better that I finish the job. So that's not the way, because if we get into the ground level work, we will be missing the leader's point of view, the bigger picture. That is why whenever people criticize some leadership decisions, I always say that if we go to the leader's position, we will be able to see a different perspective, the eagle's point of view. If we stay grounded and we continue to do things at the ground level, we will not be able to see the eagle's vision, right? Only if we elevate ourselves to that level will we be able to see how our team is performing. So it's very important to make shifts when we to transition from manager to a leader. One, number one, specialist to generalist. So before becoming a leader, we will be specialized in a particular field or particular area. But when we become a leader, we have to become a generalist. We need to have knowledge of everything. For example, in many organizations, I have seen individuals rising in their career in the technical side, and suddenly when they become the CEO or the COO, they need to know every other aspect, like the audit or finance or legal aspect, everything they need to know, and they should be able to give their point of view. So a different kind of mentoring happens at that level. So specialist to generalist, and analyst to integrator, tactician to strategist, then bricklayer to architect, problem solver to agenda setter, warrior to diplomat, and supporting cast member to lead role. So definitely that's the reason they shift positions of people when they get elevated. So whenever we become a leader, it is very important for us to make some shifts in our approaches. Leadership is all about empowering people, inspiring people, leading the change, and sharing the vision of the organization. So everything, for everything, the foundation is vision of the organization, and the leader should ensure that every team member understands the vision and mission of the organization and reflects it in every task they perform. What people think about leadership is telling people what to do. That's what people think leadership is. Oh, a leader can just make people do, can literally boss around. That's all. And what leadership actually is about: integrity, casting a vision, lots of things that we have discussed so far. And let us see what's the difference between power versus authority. Gandhiji and his followers, they underwent extreme suffering in a non-violent. So we know how Gandhiji contributed to attaining Indian independence in a non-violent struggle. And he himself was arrested and punished several times due to civil disobedience. And in 1947, not only Great Britain granted independence to India, but also received Gandhi as a hero in London. And so, where do you think he executed his authority? Gandhi had achieved his goals with non-violence, without any power or weapons. Okay, it is just through his personal influence. Just imagine how a simple man can, be such a powerful leader and influence the British government in a non-violent manner. That's just an example. Okay, now I'm going to give you an activity. I suggest you to take a paper and a pencil or a pen, and I want you to draw this organizational structure in whichever field you are working in. If you are in a college, so HOD or the Vice Chancellor with number one, and then after that, how the structure goes. I want you to draw the organizational structure in the format I have shown in the slide. Two participants raised hand. Do you want to ask anything, or is it by mistake? I do not know. Okay. Hope you are able to see the organizational structure chart in the slide that I'm showing. And I'm believing you are drawing your colleges or your organization's structure of hierarchy or organizational structure in this pattern. The number one, and then the number twos, and then the number threes, and then the ground level. So the junior most level up to that. So in this format, I'm sure some of you have drawn. Has anyone drawn? You need not show, just mention in the chat in case you have drawn. Just say yes if you have drawn this chart. In case you don't have a paper nearby, try to. Okay, thank you, Ms. Nitya, for acknowledging. Okay, I'm sure. Okay, thank you, Monisha, Vipin, fine. So I'm sure those who are not able to quickly pick up a paper and pen, certainly you would have at least visualized the organizational structure in this format, right? So this format, this where the cursor is the leader's position. Okay, so the moment somebody looks at this picture, it indicates the power and authority a person has as a leader who can delegate jobs and who can control such a big team of people, right? Do you all agree with me? The chart, the organizational structure, yes, shows how powerful the leadership position is and how he is able to control people who are reporting to him, and what a powerful role is the leadership role, right? Now, just turn your notebook upside down. Turn your notebook upside down, or if you have it in your mind, just visualize it as a upside down image where the leadership role is below and the junior most levels are up. Now, what do you see? Okay, so for example, I have just shown the inverted image of this organizational structure of a very small, a small structure here. Now invert the picture. What does it imply to you when you invert the picture? Can I have some answer in the chat? When you invert the picture, what does it imply? The organizational structure. In the picture now, leadership position comes to the bottom and the junior most levels are on top. So when you visualize that way, what does come to your mind? What comes to your mind? Just waiting for one, at least one answer in the chat. how you're able, what you're able to understand. Many at the top and one at the bottom. Responsibility, exactly, Fiji. It shows everyone depend on the leader. Okay. Yes. You know what? When you invert, you really understand that the leader is shouldering the entire team. Okay. Whoever is reporting to him up to the bottom line, he is shouldering the entire team and the responsibility. He takes the responsibility for the act of every individual in the organization. So leadership is really not about power or authority. It is about sharing huge responsibility, shouldering huge responsibility. So if you see this picture, you will know he is literally holding in his hands or shouldering huge responsibilities of the entire organization. So many people perceive leadership as a powerful or a role of authority, but it's actually a position of huge responsibility. So leadership is about reducing the fear and increasing the hope by shouldering the responsibility. It's inspiring and demonstrating that you care about the people who follow you. So now let's have this beautiful video, one of my favorite videos. And I really understand that many of you will be even teaching leadership theories in your curriculum to the students. And I also understand that there may be some teachers or lecturers who are from other streams, science streams, who might not have come across theory. So little bit I will touch upon the theory. Even this video, if somebody has already seen, for the benefit of others. And whenever each time I see, I feel so inspired about the leadership. So this is about Kalam sir. I'm playing this video. Is it audible and visible?
It's visible, ma'am, not audible.
Okay, let me explain. So if it's audible, it'll be nice, but let's see. Okay. Kalam sir, 1979, he says, SLV-3 satellite launch vehicle. He was the project mission director. His mission was to put the satellite in the orbit. Ten years work, and he reached Sriharikota launch pad. Countdown was going on. T-5, T-4, T-1, and T-40 seconds. Computer put a hold and said, "Don't launch it." Kalam sir was the mission director and he had to take a decision. 6 experts were waiting for his decision. Computer is saying not to launch. They see the pictures in the screen and understand there is a problem. There was a leakage in the system, in the control system. But they had sufficient fuel system. So they said, we can go ahead. That was the expert's view, but he had to take the decision. He took a bold decision, bypassed the computer's view and launched the rocket. 4-stage rocket. Second stage, it went mad. It went to a spin. Instead of putting the satellite in the orbit, it put in the Bay of Bengal. Look at the way everybody is listening to him. So that was the first failure. He experienced failure for the first time. He says success can be managed. I didn't know how to manage failure. At that time, a great leader, Professor Satish Dhawan, he came and called him and said, come, let's go for the press conference. So the world press, everybody was watching what's happening. And he was frightened. Kalam sir was feeling like a culprit and was frightened. Professor Satish Dhawan, Chairman ISRO, he said, "Dear friends, we have failed today." So he said, "I want to give support to my team so that next year they succeed." He took the failure onto himself. Lot of criticism came why so many crores were put in Bay of Bengal. He said, "My team is efficient. I am sure next year it will be a success." And next year, 1980, when it succeeded, Professor Satish Dhawan said, "You go and conduct the press conference." What does it mean? I'm just closing the video. So, what does this mean? Next year, when things succeeded, Professor Satish Dhawan said, called Mr. Abdul Kalam and said, "You go and conduct the press conference." I'm sure most of you would have watched this video. So, what is the learning from this for those who are watching for the first time? What is the learning from this video about leadership, responsibility? Okay, unity, Dr. Kalai Selvi. Okay, face criticism, unity. Okay, fine. The actual, when project failed, leader takes the responsibility. Exactly. Managing the failure. Okay. Am I audible now? Somebody says not audible. I was explaining. The chat box, somebody says not audible now. I think I'm audible now. Okay. So the lesson that we learned from here, the message given by Abdul Kalam sir to us is, when failure came, Professor Satish Dhawan took it to himself. He said, "We have failed," and he faced the press. And the next year, when it became a success, he said, he called Mr. Kalam and said, "You go and conduct the press conference, or you go and speak with them." So, in times of success, a leader or an effective leader passes the credit to his team members. And in times of failures, the leader shoulders responsibility and accountability. So, this is what I said. I will say something about accountability. That's such a powerful message given by Abdul Kalam sir for accountability and shouldering responsibility in times of failures for leaders. Okay, fine. So in case I was explaining, I'm sure all of you heard it, but in case you really want to listen to it, you can always Google it instantly. You will get Abdul Kalam sir's speech on leadership. Okay. So there have been some theories, as I said, some of you or many of you, most of you are great experts in theory. So I'm just touching upon that, not many theories. There's a great man theory of leadership which says excellent leaders are born, not developed. That is in the 19th century or many years back. And it states that leadership is an inherent quality. So here, this leader possesses natural attributes of, they say it is genetic probably, natural attributes of intelligence, courage, confidence, intuition, charm, among others. Trait theory again says these are the natural qualities, and some leaders may be excellent listeners or communicators, but not every listener or communicator makes an excellent leader. But certain traits required for a leader, whoever possesses that skill, were made leaders. And behavioral theory is a key concept in leadership. It's about conditioning. So conditioning states that a person will be more likely to lead in certain style as a result of environmental responses to his behavior. So these are some theories just touching upon that. But this is an interesting concept, Goldman's 6 leadership styles. A visionary leader motivates people towards a vision, and he says, "Come with me." So that's the message he gives by his behavior. And he has self-confidence, empathy, and he is a change catalyst. And coaching type of leadership, coaching style of leadership. They develop people for the future. They always focus on developing leaders. And they say, try this, you can definitely do it. And they develop others. They have a lot of self-awareness and empathy too. Affiliative style of leaders, they create harmony and build emotional bonds. And they say people come first. They give priority to people first, and they have empathy, building the relation. They're good in the building relationships, and they have excellent communication. Democratic style of leadership, as the word indicates, they forge consensus through participation. So they take input from every team member and they ask, "What do you think? This is what is the situation. What do you think is your view? What is your view?" So he focuses on collaboration, team leadership, and he also has excellent communication. Pace setting leadership style. Here, the leader sets high standards for performance. He becomes a role model and he shows the way. He sets the pace and he says, "Do as I do now, just follow me." And he is highly conscientious. He has a drive to achieve and he takes the initiative. And here is a commanding style of leader who demands immediately the jobs to be done, and he says, "Just do what I say." Is the kind of authoritative, we can say, or commanding leader. And he drives to achieve, task oriented. He takes the initiative, but he has absolute control on his team as well as on himself. So if you ask me what is the best style of leadership, all styles are needed, and we'll come to this point again towards the end. Few leaders possess all styles. So somebody might think, "Oh, as a leader, should I possess all the styles?" Few leaders possess all styles. Some may totally lack few styles. And for example, some may lack totally this democratic style, and some may lack totally this authoritative style. And some know when and where to use which style. And leaders fill the gap with the team members within the same style. This is a beautiful statement. They assess the qualities of team members and find out what is missing in the team, and they try to pitch in with that particular style in the required situation. Okay, so this is Blake and Mountain's managerial grid. It's an assessment, but I am trying to give it in a very simple way. It's a managerial grid which assesses 5 leadership styles. So you can, for yourself, here in the x-axis, we have concern for production, and in the y-axis, we have concern for people. Or literally, we can even call it as x-axis task-oriented and y-axis people-oriented. So now you can quote for yourself what rating you give from 1 to 10. 1 being low and yes, 1 to 9. In being people-oriented as a leader, how do you rate yourself? 1 to 9. Okay, so give a mark from 1 to 9 for your people-oriented nature, task-oriented nature in the x-axis, and in the y-axis, the people-oriented, how people-oriented you are. So, for example, if I'm a task-oriented leader, I'm extremely task-oriented, I may give 8 for x-axis. And if I'm least bothered about concern for people, I may give 2. So I may be 8 and 2. So 8 and 2, where does it fall? 8 and 2 is somewhere here, where the cursor is. Okay. And suppose I am low on task management because I give more importance to people. So I may be somewhere here. Okay. So see which is your predominant box. So which box is the biggest when you plot this point? Again, I show it in the next picture in an even more clearer way. So here x-axis, again, you have concern for task, and the y-axis concern for people. From 1 to 9, give yourself a mark. It can be, say, 7 and 7. So you fall into the team management, the right top quadrant, I can say. Or if you're 5 and 5, then you are perfectly at the center. That's the 5th position. So if your concern for task is very low and concern for people is also very low, then there is certainly a problem with this leadership, because nothing will move. Neither people will be happy, nor work will get done. So that's why it's called impoverished management. So naturally, any organization, whenever they observe a leader as an impoverished management style, they will change the person. And suppose the person has high concern for task and least concern for people, so that becomes authority, and people will work, but they may not be happy. And if the concern for people is high and the concern for task is less, it becomes country club management. So literally people will be dancing around, enjoying, doing little work. So the work will not be completed within the deadlines and people will be happy. And fourth one is high levels of task oriented nature and high levels of people concerned. Wonderful. So the team management is brilliant. So that's where we have this 9 and 9 at its peak. And the fifth style is all put together in the center. I want to be this as well as this. So I'm equally good, 5 and 5 in people oriented and task oriented, but I'm not best in both. So I'm somewhere in the center. So there, the productivity will be mediocre, may not be meeting the organization's expectations. So to be the perfect, most efficient leader, naturally, a person should have should give high importance to concern for task as well as concern for people. So this is called Blake and Morton's managerial grid. It comes with a set of questions. I just made it simple here. So team management, 9 and 9. This is the most effective leadership style where the leader takes both people and production together, gives equal importance. And here, this leader feels that empowerment, trust, respect, commitment. But to reach that level, we need all these. We need to trust people. We need to respect people. We have to have commitment, high commitment levels in ourselves and instill the same in our team members. And ultimately results in increased employee satisfaction and overall productivity of the organization. So management will be very happy. Do organizations need both the task-oriented people and the people-oriented leaders? Task-oriented as well as the people-oriented leaders. What are your views? You can give the answers. What kind of people are needed for an organization? Does the organization require task-oriented or people-oriented leaders? Let me, yeah, both. Learn, okay, fine. Dr. Kalai Selvi says both. Both. Nitya also says, okay. Yes, you are right, Dr. Kalai Selvi and Nitya. The organization requires a combination of both types of leaders. Or if a leader has a combination of both the skills or is a 9 and 9% and very good in team management, that's the kind of person they'll be looking for. So that's why if it's a very big organization, they will have all combinations of people. That's why if you see, there will be different kinds of leaders. One will be highly task oriented, least concern for people, and one will be having high concern for people and little task orientation. So or both kinds of people are required for an organization because people are needed and as well as the job to be done. So this, some of you might have seen, the World Economic Forum has listed top 10 skills to be a leader in the year 2016 for the year 2020. That is, in 2016, World Economic Forum has given a report listing the top 10 skills required for 2020 leaders. Okay, so now you must be recollecting how long we have been talking about this 2020 factor, correct? So to become the most efficient leader in 2020, what are the skills required? So these skills have been imparted to the identified future leaders from the year 2016 by various organizations. There we have these skills: complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, people management, coordinating with others, emotional intelligence, judgment and decision making, service orientation, negotiation, and cognitive flexibility. Problem solving, yes, whenever there is a problem, uncertainty in the organization like the one we are having now, the uncertainty due to corona, production not happening, people are not able to travel and reach. So, and many organizations, there are retrenchments, a lot of problems, unhappy people, and somewhere even salary cuts are happening. 50% cut also has been happening in many organizations. So a leader requires problem solving skills. You need to identify what is the problem, define, explore, take action, and look back, learn from the mistakes, and ensure the problems don't get repeated. Critical thinking, actually each topic requires a lot of time. So I'm just touching upon the topics. Core critical thinking skills. So he understands, infers from the situation, explains, evaluates, self-regulates, interprets. Actually, I should go this way. He analyzes, infers, explains, evaluates, self-regulates, and then does the interpretation in critical situations. Again, Corona is a perfect critical situation that's prevalent now, which we never expected. So we can also say uncertain times and critical times, the leader has to think critically and take certain decisions. People management is the most important skill required, because without people, without human assets, an organization cannot run. Leaders who don't listen to others will eventually be surrounded by people who have nothing to say. So we need people, and we also need to listen to people's inputs, what they have got to say in this situation. Because as a leader, take for example the same Corona situation, the leader may be wondering what product to increase production and what product to stop the production, when people around will be giving him other point of view also. So when the leader will be concerned about the bigger picture, others will be able to give him the inputs on how to retain people, etc. So the leaders should be great listeners and should be willing to take views from people around. Interpersonal relationship, very important skill required for team interaction. And in interpersonal skills, he can be very friendly, but he needs to be assertive. He should be a coaching leader, and he should be able to give feedback. Handling conflicts. Naturally, in any organization, more than two people, there will be conflict between, among the employees or with the vendors or with the customers. So conflict resolution is also required skill, and one-to-one interaction he needs to maintain. If it's a very big organization, it's difficult. That's why they maintain the communication through the leaders. Even today in the virtual scenario, that's why a lot of meetings have been happening. Just a small difference between a boss and a leader. A boss says just go, and a leader says let's go. So this is a participative leadership style. And so people management, that also results in team coordination. So the picture shows how they will have to coordinate between the team members or between different teams in different ways in different situations. So picture one, so we are able to clearly see how they have to coordinate with different kinds of people. And sometimes they need to lead the race and take people along with them, as you see in the next picture. And in the last picture, if you see, they will have to coordinate between network, the departments or different levels of people, vendors. In every situation, they might have to pitch in. So all other skills certainly will supplement them in coordinating with the teams effectively. Okay, one more video is there about people management and team coordination, but the audio is not visible. Let me say what the video is about. It is Saurav Ganguly's video about a match in which Yuvraj Singh was a 16 or 17-year-old boy, and how he was behaving the way adolescents behave. And suddenly he used to go outside the hotel and people will not know where he is. So as a leader, he had two choices, either to change the person or to recognize his talents and to ensure that he takes care of such a person. So he went and told the security, keep an eye on this boy, where he is going and coming. So the security said, yeah, I have to keep an eye on everybody. He said, no, I request you to keep an eye on this person specifically, and especially where he is going and coming, his whereabouts, etc. So then as a leader, Saurav Ganguly, it's a beautiful video because the audio is not here, I'm not playing. I sincerely request you to please watch that Saurav Ganguly's speech. So, as a leader, he decided that his skill is required for the team. But as an adolescent, he had some shortcomings because in a country outside India, the team had to be together intact, and if somebody has gone out, there is always risk involved. So he took an extra step, extra effort to monitor and to take care of Yuvraj Singh, and he ensured that he was safe. And ultimately, it was a winning proposition. So that's Saurav Ganguly's speech. Do watch that. The next skill required for leadership is emotional intelligence. Needless to say, in current scenario, we are speaking more about emotional quotient, and we say EQ plus IQ gives success. And in the iceberg concept of success, also we say IQ is the tip of the iceberg, and EQ is the huge portion of the iceberg that holds or makes the IQ visible, or the leadership, the skills and knowledge visible. So, to become emotionally intelligent, one has to have self awareness, should be able to manage themselves. Only then will they be able to motivate themselves, get self motivated. And then, when we are self motivated, we develop empathy towards social skills and take care of others also, and then get into self regulation. So, the foundation for emotional intelligence is self awareness. So, every now and then in our life, we need to do a SWOT analysis and identify our strengths and opportunities which will help us overcome the threats and weaknesses. Only when we have complete self awareness and we are able to manage ourselves, will we be able to manage the emotions of others and motivate others as well. So, emotional intelligence contributes to increased leadership ability, increased team performance, improves decision making, decreased occupational stress, reduced staff turnover, and increased personal well being. So, emotional intelligence is very much essential for a leader to handle his emotions, his or her emotions, as well as the emotions of the team members. Okay, then empathy. Emotional intelligence leads to empathy. We spoke in the beginning itself, stepping into others' shoes. And then decision making styles of leaders. There are 6 styles of decision making for leaders: autocratic, democratic, collective, participative, autocratic, participative, and consensus. So just go through this and tell me what kind of decision making leader you are. So autocratic leader takes his own decision and forces it onto the team. And democratic leader, Renu Subha raised a hand, I think by mistake. Otherwise, you can always keep your question towards the end or post your question in the chat box. Democratic leader collects all the ideas and opinions from the group members. Collective decision making style. Here, the leader takes views, collective views of all the team members and takes the decision collectively. Participative, the leader encourages his subordinates to contribute their ideas or opinion in the group situations and share responsibility. Autocratic participative is very, very interesting. The authority of final decision making rests with the leader alone, who makes decisions based on the solutions obtained through discussion. So he takes views from the people, but ultimately decision is mine. I'm taking your views, but ultimately this is my decision. That is autocratic participative. And consensus, here the leader gives up his responsibility to take decisions on the group members. So everybody sits together in a round table and they give their points of view, and together in consensus they take a decision. So these are the 6 decision making styles. And in the 10 skills, we saw service orientation also. When we think of service orientation, we think about customers. So it's not only about customers. Service is not only for customers, but also for the internal customers, that is the team members, for the process or for any requirement internally also he should be willing. That is why we say empathy is required. When empathy is there and when he is emotionally intelligent, automatically service orientation will be there. And negotiation skills is very, very important for a leader in various situations, even to communicate something to the team members or to the vendors or to the customers, um, or to the trade unions. Everywhere negotiation skills are required. So what are the skills required for a leader to be effectively negotiating? Are the listening skills, and for all the skills the foundation is communication, needless to say. So listening skills, analytical skills, being professional and emotionally intelligent person, being patient and respecting the other side, problem solving skills, persuasive skills, all these are required for a leader to be an effective negotiator. So how does the negotiation happen? Again, that's a very big topic. I'm just giving one perspective. So the good way or the best way to be effectively negotiating in a particular situation with their employees maybe is to be assertive. So what is assertive, aggressive and passive? So in between aggressive and passive is assertive. So let us see what is passive or submissive. Is nothing but even if I lose, it's okay, you should win. That is being passive. Many leaders behave this way. Even if I don't get anything, it's okay, but my people should not suffer, or something like that. They are even willing to lose. So that is a lose-win situation. That's passive or submissive behavior. And aggressive is, even if others lose, even if nothing is given to my team members, it's okay, I should get. So it's at any cost, I should win. That is, I am okay, you are not okay, is fine. Submissive behaviors, I am not okay, you are okay. But assertive behavior is something in between both, which is a win-win situation. That's the assertive skill, which is used in decision making or in the negotiation situations. And that's the emotionally intelligent leader always chooses to be assertive and aims towards win-win situation where he is very confident, self-aware, respects himself as well as others. So that's why in this slide we saw, in the previous slide, we saw that assertive behavior gives equal importance to the others' needs as well as our needs. That's about assertive behavior. So in assertiveness grid, the ideal situation is I am okay, you are okay. Win-win situation for both the parties in negotiation. Next is cognitive flexibility. So here comes the rational leader. When emotions stop, that's why we say emotional intelligence is required. When emotions stop, our rational mind works. So in any given situation, we have to identify our emotions and locate the underlying thoughts. They should not be overruled by emotions in all situations. We need to be empathetic. But when it comes to a leader for decision making or for implementation, cognitive skills are required for him to identify the underlying thoughts which lead to a particular feeling. So he has to first identify his feeling and identify what is the underlying thought, because that influences his behavior or decision making. So that's the formula for cognition. Cognitive behavior therapy also we use this formula. For example, if I feel very low and depressed, what is the underlying? My behavior is that I withdraw from others and avoid people. I don't want to talk to people. And sometimes we say when the boss is feeling very bad, the team members don't go and talk to him. He's not approachable. The underlying thought must be, I have let everyone down. They'll be very angry with me. So I have not been a good leader. That must be the thought. So based on his feelings, he needs to identify what is the underlying thought and work on that thought. So that kind of cognitive flexibility is required. Another example is, I'm feeling anxious as a leader. So what do? I get away from the situation. I just escape or go out of the office. What is the underlying thought? I can't do this. Okay, there is a big challenge. There is corona situation. I really don't know what to do. I better escape and go somewhere out of station. So he has to now think, why am I doing this? Why am I feeling anxious? And why am I getting away from the situation? What is wrong with me? Everyone is looking up to me for my decisions. So this is the way a leader needs to have cognitive flexibility to change his thought process depending on the situation. 7 leadership principles to learn from the eagle. Eagles fly alone and at high altitudes. That's why we say eagle's vision. As a leader, we need to have eagle's point of view. They stay away from negativity and small talk. And they aim high and stay with positive, good company only. Again, there is a video, but let's see if we have time. And eagles have an accurate vision. That's why we say eagle's vision. Kalugu Parva, they say in Tamil. So eagles have vision, they stay focused, they overcome obstacles to ensure that success is theirs. They always go for the fresh prey, they don't eat dead things, and they don't live in the past glory, and they look for fresh frontiers to conquer. They take new challenges. So even in the storms, if you see eagles love the storm, they will be flying. And very recently, I read an article which was very interesting. Whenever there is a storm, eagles are the only birds which will be flying high in the sky. And birds like crows will not be facing the storm. Probably many birds will get into the nest. Some crows, suppose they want to taste the higher heights in the sky, they cling to the eagles and they fly along with them. So instead of harming the crows or instead of pushing down the crows, the eagle silently soars high and it goes to greater heights, that at some height the crows will not be able to breathe or sufficient air will not be there. So automatically the crows will fly down and the eagles will be flying at greater heights. So this example we use, or it's a good metaphor to use, relate and say that challenges or smaller people, smaller talking people, whenever they try to disturb us as we are trying to fly greater heights, do not resist them. Just keep flying higher and higher. Automatically, they will feel the resistance of the air and they will come back to their place, and you can continue to be soaring instead of wasting our energy fighting with such negative situations. And commitment level is also very high for eagles. Eagles prepare for training and they leave their comfort zone. You must have seen the video of how eagles undergo the painful change process to survive. At the age, eagles generally live a longer life of say 70 years, and at the age of 40, the eagle's nails get bent or its beak also becomes bent, and the feathers also become very thick and it will not be able to fly very high to catch its prey. At that stage, it has two options to make. One, to undergo a painful process of change, or the second option is to just go with the flow and end its life. Now, the eagle takes the challenge of reviving itself, for which it goes to a mountain top or to a greater height. And what it does, it hits its beaks and talons or the nails on the rocks, that they fall down. Like when we cut the nails, the new nails grow. It gets its new nails or the beak so that it can catch its prey. And with its heavy feathers, it cannot fly greater heights, so it keeps its body to ensure that the feathers also shed away. So naturally, it will be a very painful process, after which new feathers grow. And after the new feathers, beak and the talons grow, it takes its onward journey, the new revived life. So eagles are always willing to undergo painful process, step outside the comfort zone, face the storms for survival. So that's one of the powerful lessons we learn from the eagles. To survive, we need to be prepared to change or to adapt to changing scenarios, ready for change. That's the story I said now. So the trained eye of the leader sees the vision unfolding amidst the chaos, churn, and the changes. So if we want to be an effective leader, we should really have a view from the top. If we are going to be in the democratic style, sometimes it is required. But if you are going to continue to do what the bottom line people are doing, we will not be able to see the leader's vision. We will not be able to see the eagle's vision or the leader's point of view. So only if we elevate ourselves to a higher platform will we be able to see the bigger picture. As a leader, to be effective, just think that we need to be like an eagle, only then we will be able to have the eagle's point of view or the eagle's vision to see actually the ground reality, what is happening, where the corrections have to be made. There are again two types of leaders, controlling leaders and connecting leaders. As the name indicates, controlling leaders are autocratic or authoritative. They say, I'm the boss. Some you must have heard, I mean, many bosses, you say this very casually. Are you the boss or I am the boss? So when they feel that they are the boss and they have to take the decision and they need to control the team, they are controlling leaders. So in this situation, what happens? The team members look up to the leader as an authoritative person because the leader will be many times intimidating them or threaten the team members. And it does not create a healthy atmosphere. It creates a culture of survival. Just let us survive, and it's called just making it to Friday. So when Monday comes, they will be waiting for the Friday to come to enjoy their weekend. So that's the kind of controlling leaders. Whereas connecting leaders, as the name indicates, they have the collaborative style of leadership, and they foster a family-like culture in the office. There is very strong bonding between the team members, and here each one respects and trusts the other, and they are always willing to go the extra mile for the leader. Boss has said, let us do it. That's the kind of thought they will have. And such leaders, they tend to have loyal team members who have sense of belongingness and purpose. So here getting things done will be easy. The team members will be happily working, and they will be looking forward for the Mondays to come to go and meet their boss or the other team members and to have a lively atmosphere. So this is the power style. I think the picture speaks it all. First is autocratic. So from the picture, what do you understand from the autocratic style? Let me see some answer in the chat box. So from this picture, what do you understand about the autocratic style? See where the leader is and where the employees are, and give your view in the chat box about, because we cannot interact. This is the only way I can get to know your views. Okay. In the decision-making process, you should 5 to 7 models starting from autocratic. Okay. Yes. Sunil Narayan, I will come to that point towards the end. Leader only the boss in this model, autocratic style. Yes. No sphere of influence, dominating. Okay. Leader is powerful and decides everything. Fine. Self-centered. Okay. So this blue, you can relate to the organization. Okay. So the leader occupies the center position and ensures that the employees do not have that kind of an attachment or loyalty towards the organization. He takes charge and he just keeps throwing instructions or commands. Okay, so there is no belongingness for the employees. They feel detached from the organization. We can take it that way. In power style, so in participative style of leadership, both the leader as well as the employees are a part of the organization. Both have very good belongingness and loyalty. And in the free reign, the leader, so you must have seen some of the leaders like this, they feel totally detached and they just let the employees run the organization. Okay, so sometimes it is required that we make the employees understand and set the operations to go in an autopilot mode, fine, auto mode. Sometimes it is required, but not always. The leader cannot always stay detached from the organization and the employees and have a free range lifestyle or the leadership style. So ideally, it should be participative where the leader as well as the employees are a part of as a part of the organization. Okay, these are again another concept for leadership styles, where in the x-axis we have the directive behavior and the y-axis we have the supportive behavior. So if the directive behavior and supportive behavior both are less, it is delegating. Okay, the leader just delegates. If he has more of directing and less of supporting behavior, um, he has he's little supportive to the employees and it's not that great. And if he's highly supportive and less directive, there will be a lot of dependency on this leader. So the ideal situation is high level of directive behavior and high level of supportive behavior, where he will be a coaching leader. So he creates leaders. This will be the ideal style. This another beautiful concept of transactional versus transformational leadership. As the name indicates, transactional leaders focus only on getting the job done. Okay, they command and control, and they use their authority to ensure that the deadlines are met or the targets are met, goals are met. And once that job is over, totally they will detach from the people involved in that job and focus on the next task. Whereas transformational leaders, they keep motivating the followers to go beyond their own immediate self-interest. So they are interested to impart their experience and knowledge to transform leaders. So when an employee works with such a leader, the leader ensures that he grooms them and he molds them to ensure that they grow in career path and they reach the high level. So here it is a participative leadership style, and he is a very good coach, a transformational leader. He always focuses on the welfare of the employees, how they can grow in their career. Qualities of transformational leader: idealized influence or charisma, inspirational motivation, intellectual stimulation, and individualized consideration. Facts that predict transformational leadership. So a transformational leadership has trust among their people. He is straightforward, he or she is straightforward, altruism, compliance, modesty, tender-mindedness, and agreeable. Okay, so he is open to ideas from his team members. How to transform oneself, understand why we should transform, assess a major and backup style of leadership, whether we really need to be transformed from one style of leadership to another. You need to ask yourself, assess your leadership style, and depending on the situation, we cannot say this is the ideal style. It depends on the atmosphere or the organizational structure where you are, and depends on the rest of the team members, what kind of leadership style you need to execute at what point of time. An outcome of transformational leadership is dependent followers, also strong identity with the leader, empowered followers with collective identity, and heroism versus ideology. They look up to the leaders as role models. And this is about 7 Is of leadership: search for purpose, successful moments of value creating moments, standalone warrior like eagles flying alone, sacrifice, superior in integrity and ethics, saluting superior values in others, and surrendering to universal wisdom. And we have heard this quote many times: people don't leave jobs, they leave managers. So some of the do's we know. Don't expect, should not expect the people to read our mind. It is better to update the team constantly on our key priorities. This is the main communication gap that prevails in many leadership roles. They don't communicate effectively about their expectations and suddenly ask, why didn't you finish that? And Do not be guilty of giving drive-by delegations. When you delegate work to others, we need not feel guilty. Clarify the expectations by this delegation. Do not underestimate the time it takes to do things. Not everything can be done as quickly as we might think, because we estimate that this particular task can be accomplished in 2 days' time, but it depends. Some unforeseen challenges might come that the way we are experiencing now. So always have a cushion. So give your team members the required support they need to leverage you better, and do not micromanage. The employees will not show commitment levels and will not be giving their best efficiency level when a leader is micromanaging. So just tell your team when you are brainstorming. So they should not think that, okay, what is this? The leader is asking very minute things and asking too many questions. So if you feel it is just brainstorming, just tell them, let us do a brainstorming. So they will know why actually you're doing this question. You're not actually micromanaging. And do not delegate your unique ability or activities. Here we can say that as a leader, we will have, instead of activities, I will say responsibilities. As a leader, when I have the prime responsibility to take a particular decision or to authorize something, we should not delegate that to others. We can coach and mentor, but the ultimate authorization should be ours. Now, particularly in the technology driven world, certain things, if we have to authorize, it should be done by the leader only. Be patient and let others learn and grow. And do not underestimate your team's capabilities. Be clear about your team's level of authority. If we are efficient leaders, definitely we can groom people to perform very well. And in the virtual environment, so in current scenario, many offices we are working online, and going forward, many organizations have already announced that they are going to recruit people to work from home, or remote working culture is going to be order of the day in future. Probably it may be got a compromise of some salary, maybe, or people who are homemakers also will be able to take a part-time job. So that situation is really ahead of us. So the leadership challenges in a virtual environment is leading from a distance, like in the picture. We will never know. I have seen many teachers logging and teaching, but we really not sure whether all the students are really observing or listening or understanding, because in on the screen we will not be able to have an eye on everybody the way we are able to monitor the students at the classroom. But this may be the situation for some time. So leading from a distance is a challenge, and technology, learning new technology each time, communication skills virtually. And for example, when I conduct the same leadership session in person, I will be giving a lot of activities. So I will be asking questions and expecting a lot of people to answer. I will be able to identify from your body language if somebody has not understood something and try to explain it further. Those things are missing. So right now, what I'm able to see on the screen is just the slide. So that communication misses. Team building is little difficult in the virtual scenario. How much ever we talk and connect to people on the video. Virtual meetings, conducting virtual meetings in a easy way, that's difficult. Results focused, being results focused is a little bit of a challenge compared to the what to say in-person office scenario. And maintaining the protocols is also sometimes difficult. So in virtual leadership, what a leader has to do now, what best we can do is to place trust in the employees. We can't think that, okay, these people are working from home, definitely they will cheat, they will dodge, they will not complete. Instead of thinking negatively, we have to have trust in the employees. And we have to change the way our team works. We have to consider their personal situation also and make some changes in our leadership style, become empathetic, have a calm and positive mindset, maintain social connections virtually, be authentic and empathize. Very, very important in this situation, and account for the well being of employees. And the leader for himself or herself should maintain a proper time schedule to be effective as a leader. Like you can have a time schedule, like getting up early, making some exercise, doing some exercises, eating, having the breakfast without fail. So unless we are able to manage or structure our time effectively, we will not be able to conduct the virtual meetings in an efficient manner. So we have to schedule our timing and should have time for some body movement or some exercise and eat proper diet. So working remotely, we need to establish a routine, create a calm and comfortable workplace in a room, and schedule regular video calls to stay connected with people, because more than audio call, video call helps us connect with them easily. Limit the distractions during the meetings. Work in short bursts. So instead of having lengthy video calls, we can try to give instructions on the mail and have short video calls. So working in short bursts. Try batching your work. So we can say for the, this work we will batch for this time, or this discussion we will batch for this time, or this batch of people we will connect with this time, etc. Ensure we eat well and do some physical activity. So a successful leader is a powerful personality, self-confident, charismatic individual, has the ability to form one-to-one relationships, knows how to identify his or her strengths and weaknesses, and displays high level of optimism. So now a question to you. Measure of leadership. How many leaders have you created? Because the transformational leader always aims at grooming people and creating future leaders. So ask yourself, you need not answer in the chat, just ask yourself, how many leaders have I created? How many team members have I molded as future leaders? Because that is going to be the measure of the effectiveness of your leadership. How you're going to transform people as leaders. Let me play an interesting video for situational leadership, and before ending, because it's just trying to share the video. One moment, please. Are you able to see the screen of video by any chance?
Not yet.
Okay, okay, one moment. Now, ma'am? Not yet?
I can see your the the PC screen, but not the presentation is not the video has not been clicked. I think just
Okay,
click the
okay.
video. I think it will come now.
Okay, okay.
Go to the video.
So you're able to see the
Your desktop drive PC. This
okay,
e folder. I think I see.
okay, okay, fine.
So if you just click, I think it should come.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Just 1 minute. Okay. I'm not able to share that video. I don't know for what reason. However,
I think you just have to double click on the video. You just go to the
yeah,
video
yeah,
and
did
it.
that.
It didn't work out?
Yeah, one more time, try it again. Last try. Yeah. Yes.
I think now it is beginning to
Yeah.
share. Just wait. Yeah. I think the audio is not there, but I think it should be
So
self-explanatory.
yeah, audio. Actually, audio is not required. This video, many of you would have watched. Okay, so I have stopped sharing that. So now tell me what kind of leadership is this? You can mention in the chat. We are almost at the last slide. I know the time is getting over. Okay, so let me explain. So this is called the situational leadership. So when in times of crisis, a leader emerges, and that doesn't require age, experience, etc. So in the spark of the minute, a person comes out with a solution in critical times, and that person certainly is likely to become a future leader, and that person is identified as a leader in all the organizations. So if a person feels that I have always been hardworking, but I have not been recognized, I have always been recognizing and appreciating my team members, but I'm not recognized, but somebody else is recognized, just um, come aside and observe that person. Probably he is the one who has emerged as a situational leader and who has been available to the organization in times of crisis. So it is very, very important to be a situational leader. So that answers your question, Mr. Narayan. What type of leadership style is best? You are an effective leader, or we are effective leaders if we are able to switch our leadership styles depending on the requirement of the particular scenario or the situation. So not everybody can have all the leadership styles, but if you see, you will be having particular style predominantly, but you will be having other styles in a lesser, what to say, comparatively in a lesser way. So we can focus on improving all other leadership styles also to become a situational leader who is the most wanted leader in current scenario. So here I'm giving this assessment for leadership. Let me post in the chat box, and those who are interested can just, it's like a self assessment you can do for yourself. I'm not able to go to the chat. I'll post it in the chat box now, so whoever is interested can take it up. I think I'll stop sharing, then I'll do that. So thank you so much for the wonderful opportunity given. I'm sure in the time available, I'm able to cover major portion, but leadership is a very vast subject and we can talk about it even for one full day. Once again, I thank all the participants for your patient listening, and I thank the organizing team for giving me this wonderful platform. Thank you so much, Dr. Manjula.
Thank you, Uma ma'am. If there are any queries from the participants, we can definitely take it. I think the two key takeaways that I would say from the talk is that the essence of great leadership is not merely authority, but it is actually influence. And another takeaway that I would take from the talk is that leaders don't create followers, but they really create more leaders. And with the participants being teaching fraternity, I think it really makes sense that no, we need to create more leaders in whatever we do. And whether it is dealing with our colleagues or whether it is with the students, our aim is not to create followers, but to create more leaders.
More leaders, exactly. So for teachers, we can use the triple M concept, mentoring, monitoring, and modeling. So as leaders, we are role modeling because the students look up to us as role models. And as they grow, they pick up a lot of communication styles and behavioral patterns from the teachers. More responsibility is rest with the teachers and professors as leaders because they are role models for a huge, big generation of students.
Please wait. We'll post the feedback link for the participants to take the feedback. Meanwhile, if there are any questions, we can take it. Any questions from the participants, you are welcome. So there is the feedback link which is posted. Please take the feedback link because that will also serve as your attendance for the day. The attendance for both the sessions are mandatory for you to be eligible to get the participation certificate. If there are no questions, is there any questions?
Yeah. I just would like to mention two more points. A leader needs to walk the talk. So as teachers and professors, we need to have that in mind because we are role models. And as and when possible, we have to throw seeds of appreciation to the students that will really motivate them, keep them motivated, and they will really emerge as future leaders. So a lot of responsibility rests with the teachers and professors, because in this kind of uncertain situations or critical situations, we need to motivate ourselves and also motivate the students. So I really salute the great job the teachers and professors have done during the Corona times and being Corona warriors. So my humble salutes to all of you who have been present here in this session.
So there are some interesting questions being posted meanwhile. Let me just take them one by one. There is a question from Vipin who is asking, how can we improve our leadership qualities?
Okay, so we have seen, Vipin, I really appreciate your interest in improving the leadership qualities. So we have seen various skills required to emerge as effective leaders. So just do a SWOT analysis just based on the leadership skills, or just at least write the strengths and areas of improvement. What all skills are your what to say, your strengths or your plus, and what are leadership skills you feel you need to improve. So make use of the strengths to build on the areas of improvement. Definitely you can improve your leadership quality.
The next question is from Rajashekar, who is asking, how do the members of the team deal with laissez-faire leadership?
Okay, members of the team, except for one or two who have high ambitions, will naturally enjoy the situation if it's a laissez-faire situation. So under such leadership, people may not learn much. There will be lesser chances for them to learn and grow. So some team members who are really very serious about career building will really find it very difficult. But here is a wonderful opportunity for them to take the lead, because in laissez-faire, you also have the right to take charge of the situation and emerge as a situational leader. It's in your hands.
Thank you for that. There is another question from Rajani Das, who is asking, can we look up to people from political background as our leaders? Today, what we see is most of them are corrupted and inefficient. So how do you comment on that?
I never spoke about politics throughout the session.
Politics.
If at all,
we better keep politics away.
Yeah, we keep politics away during the sessions. However, certainly there are very good political leaders who have excellent leadership skills. Look at them from the perspective, just put a filter their political activities, and look up to them from the perspective of leadership styles alone, and certainly we can try to analyze their leadership skills and try to follow that. So what are the political patterns they are implementing does not matter. We can look at the way they are implementing, or the styles they are following, the skills they have. We have seen a lot of political leaders. I can quote Smriti Irani, the way she has transformed and developed her communication skills from being an actress to the way she has been communicating now. That's just one example that came to my mind. I'm not supporting or against anybody. So like this, we can pick up the skills, the way they transform themselves. When they do, why can't we do? That's the kind of lesson that we can learn from political leaders.
Can you tell me what is the necessary thing and most important thing on leadership nowadays? So maybe he is asking the most important leadership skill, perhaps.
So I have given 10 important skills. So when I say one, you may not give importance to the other. So I will say 10, all the 10 are equally important, but empathy and communication skills definitely form the foundation for the rest.
Thank you. So another question from Ramesh is, how a leader can change the attitude of team members who are resistant to transformation?
Exactly. Resistant to change. Yes. So that's what I started in the beginning itself, based on the caption in the brochure. Leading is life-changing. So change management is very, very important. So with the team members, suppose you are taking a leadership position in an organization as a new leader. First, we have to focus on gaining their trust. Okay, so people should look up to us as a trustworthy leader, or as a person who can really mold us or transform as leaders. So when that trust is built as a foundation with the leader, I think handling this resistance to change may become easier. Or we have to explain to them. With some people, we will have to go the extra mile and then explain the carrots available in the particular change. So we have to be more communicative with such people. Otherwise, I think when we build the trust with the team members, handling such situations will become easier.
So if I can assume that there are no more questions from the participants, If there are any, maybe we can take one or two more. We are okay with that. If there are one or two more, we can take them. So let me see if there are any.
Venkatesh Chandrasekharan says you have missed my question. What's the question?
Oh, let me see. Sir, if you can put it back in the chat box, that will help me.
Please post it again.
If I have missed it, please post it again, sir. We will take that.
Theories you mentioned, leaders,
role of age as a leadership quality. That is the question that he has asked.
Okay. So that's the reason I played that video towards the end. Sometimes even younger people emerge as situational leaders. So it's all dependent on their capabilities, the values and belief systems that they have imbibed all through their life. Some get the right exposure, or they get their traits from their parents or from the role models that they have seen around. So it's my view that age has got nothing to do in the leadership quality. It is about the right attitude, the right values and belief systems are required to be an effective leader in a particular situation.
So I think there is one question from Sunata Balu, which is almost related. She is asking, ma'am, theories that you mentioned, there are inherent qualities, and recent theories say that one can develop the leadership skills. Is that correct? I think I will take that, if you don't mind, that question.
Please. Yes.
See, the old school of thought says that leadership skills are inherent traits. But the latest theory, as you are rightly saying, say that they are leadership skills which can be trained and you can acquire those skills. So the skill, the term itself, the leadership skill means you can train and you can acquire them. So that means we can work on it. That is the very purpose for which such webinars on leadership are conducted. So that the first thing is for us to become aware and conscious about the kind of, and have an introspection on the kind of leadership skills that we have. Is there an area that I can develop? And definitely we can work on it, and we can, because nobody comes learning everything. We have to be here, we have to learn and make a conscious decision to change our attitude or have a different approach to the leadership style that we practice. It can be acquired and developed. So that is the beauty of our leadership skills. And as ma'am said, depending on the situation, one's leadership skills also keeps evolving. That is, he's asked age. Sometimes I wouldn't say age is a factor, but experience matters. Age may not factor, but that's experience can matter. So, that is also you cannot. There is no thumb rule here. You cannot put it in a capsule and say that this is how it is, and this is the prescriptive way that one should work. But you can always work on it. There can be always an introspection, and as I said, as teachers, what is the best style that can be adopted in classroom management, in teaching, in dealing with our colleagues, in dealing with all the stakeholders that we come across in our workspace and worksphere, is all things that can always be worked, and we can have better ways of dealing with people. Because end of the day, leadership is about dealing with people. And I think we have had a wonderful session today. And I'm so glad that, ma'am, you have covered all the nitty-gritty of leadership, I must say. We have, so I have no words to actually thank you. Thank you for taking your time out and being with us today. I am sure that the participants also would have enjoyed as much as I have enjoyed listening to you, and for every PPT that you put, every slide that you put was really power packed with so much of information. Because I am a management faculty, I get to talk about this, we learn it, we talk about it. But there are the faculty from various streams, science streams and literature. For them, all these information that you have shared today is almost like attending one OB full course on leadership. Thank you so much for that. Dear participants, you have been a wonderful audience tonight, and I have really enjoyed hosting the session for you. I look forward to your participation tomorrow for another interesting session on mindfulness. And that is something that everybody is talking about in recent times after the pandemic has struck us. that we have to learn to live in the present, and we have to savor every moment that we are living and whatever we are doing. So it will be definitely a very, very interesting session and a useful session, both at professional as well as personal level. So I look forward to you joining us for the session tomorrow, same time, 6 o'clock sharp we will start. But I would encourage you all to please log in at least 15 minutes ahead so that we can start the session right dart on schedule. Thank you for your all the cooperation you have extended tonight, and we will all meet tomorrow. Please don't forget to take the feedback form that is given here, because that will also serve as your attendance for the session. Thank you all for joining us. Ma'am, you can log off, and I will stay back for a few minutes more till all of you have taken the feedback. I also would like to thank all the YouTube participants, the people who have logged in through YouTube and have been watching the live streaming of this session. As I told you, we actually close the session within a few hours of sharing the registration, because of the kind of response we had. We don't believe in quantity, we believe in quality. And so we thought that we should actually keep the numbers to just the minimum. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, participants, and thank you, organizing team, for this wonderful opportunity. Wish you all the best. Thank you. I'm logging.
Ma'am, I would request you to please share the PPT with us if it's possible.
Okay, right, ma'am. Will do.
Because there's some requests from the participants. Okay. So if it can be of some help to them, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.